Howdy there, folks. I was watching a Robin Williams stand-up, and he mentioned in passing cats on Prozac. So I went to duckduckgo.com, a very superior search engine, and typed that in, cats on Prozac. And a result aimed at me because I'm in Ireland. I got a result from pets.ie, the blog post which is linked in the description. Now, I'll read the blog post for you, and then I'll offer my critique, which, isn't just some opinion. But here we go. Does your dog bark, sleep, chase their tail? Well, according to a new study, your pet may be 1 in 8 of 10 dogs that require Prozac medication. According to a new study carried out by Claire Corridan, The Sun reported, analysis and results of the study was based on 1,300 dogs and their owners over a 2-week period. Dr. Corridan of the Champion Animal Beauty Behavior Therapy Study Group said, 80% of dogs have one or more behavioral problems. Natural responses such as barking, sleeping for long periods, and chasing their tail excessively are now defined as hyperactivity, phobic behavior, and separation anxiety. Vets believe more than 80% of the 8 million dogs in Britain are suffering from anorexia, depression, sleeping problems, and even self-mutilation. The new doggy drugs, which are already available in America, are expected to be on sale before the end of the year in Britain, and the end of the year being 2012. Critics say it's a lazy excuse for bad ownership. Beverly Cuddy, editor of Dogs Today, said, "Many people are becoming a bit more perfectionist and want their dogs free of all negatives. But this means you are not tolerating normal doggy behavior. There are lots of things you would prefer your dog not to do, but that is a part of having a pet." Now, I like the sarcastic tone of this article, and I like how they trust the reader to know that it's absolutely crazy. I'd go one further than Beverly Cuddy in saying that we expect our dogs to be perfect by saying that we're far from perfect ourselves. There is a mental attitude in the air. To some extent or another, we all embody many dysfunctions, as psychiatry would call them. Most animal owners are forgetting what it means to own an animal. If they aren't beating the animal, and we honestly don't know how much that goes on, if they aren't beating the animal, then they're neglecting the animal and keeping them in a confined space for hours a day, days on end, for the entirety of the animal's life. Even outside of our household, cats and dogs and other pets are frowned upon, really. Not only frowned upon, but outlawed. You have to keep your dogs on a leash. You have to make sure that you know where they are at all times. Basically, your cat or your dog is a child forever, under your watchful eye. He is, or she is, a slave. there was a time when it was just trusted to let cats and dogs and other pets and even horses to just wander. This is their world too, and they know it. They know that this is their world. But they're stuck. They're stuck in houses, they're stuck in backyards, they're stuck in the immediate territory around their homes. They're stuck on a leash and walked around the block. Now, it would be a mistake to then try to remedy that natural depression that results with things like Prozac, which are basically condensed tablets of fluoride. Basically, something that passes your brain-blood barrier, numbs your brain. It makes you stupid. That's why it makes you more tolerable to be around. And for many, many years, great revolutionary psychologists and mystics have told us that this is the result of the society, of the family, that we can be pulled into emotional chaos. We can be emotionally stunted by society and the family. If anything, it's a sign of health. And that's a big subject that I implore you to study. Look into people like Krishnamurti and R.D. Laing, Thomas Saz. I'll supply appropriate links in the description of the video. To go on and take drugs for something that's completely natural, which is to have a maladaptation to a world gone crazy, it's going to end up bad. If you apply a solution to a problem that isn't the most direct solution, it shouldn't be any big surprise that you run into complication. And the direct solution would be to find more freedom in your daily life. Find more freedom in your attitudinal life. Just break away from the groupthink and get into the countryside and experience a world that isn't artificially lit and paved and isn't full of people who share the same melodramas as we do, but, just a different description, just a different story. If we don't get out of that environment and into the beautiful world as it was intended to be, the mountains, the forests, the country roads, then of course we're going to go doolally. And up until a while ago, relatively speaking, animals had that freedom to wander, or even once a week maybe bring a dog to a forest. Let them experience that energy that does heal and replenish our spirits. I find it very disgusting and appalling that today we have our animals on drugs. I thought it was bad enough that, we put the most sensitive people in our world on drugs because we don't like their behavior. This is really appalling to me, because Maybe there's a possibility that, I don't know, maybe someone who is put on these drugs could stand up and say, no, I won't do that. It has happened. I know people who have turned around and said, no, I will not take those drugs. And through a lengthy process on their own, they found themselves. Some people I know are still going through that process, but I trust that they will, because they're strong people. They're the ones who decided. No, I won't do it that way. I'll do it my way. Now, dogs can't do that. Cats can't do that. Horses can't do that. Imagine a world where we give antidepressants to fucking horses. If you saw how horses were kept in limited environments, in small sheds, I think you'd see that coming down the road too. Can we not get a little historical perspective here? And maybe even as an example, look at the noble wolf or the fox, these beautiful creatures, very, very independent, despite propaganda to the contrary that, you know, all of these dog-like animals, canines, are pack animals that will do almost anything for their owner. Which they will. That's why they lived with us, in our houses, in our unnatural environments. They put away all of those instincts, those many hard-coded instincts that they used to require every day to find food, protect themselves, find their way home. Even morals. Dogs, fox, wolves practice morals. They have them. They put away all of those things to live with us. And over the years, we allowed for them to have less and less of those powers. If you couldn't socialize, if you couldn't work, if you couldn't take a walk, climb a mountain, ever, and if ever, under strict supervision, wouldn't you go terribly depressed too? I certainly hope you would, because you won't be good health-wise, physical health-wise. Your emotions are an alarm clock to what is actually going on in your body, how your body is faring. So for God's sake, maybe I can accept that you want to dull your emotions so that you then don't have to listen to your body intelligence, but for God's sakes, don't do it to the fucking animals.